Hey everyone, we are live again. I am back again, Allegra Jackson, the marketing medulla. I am your extraordinary business coach slash marketing strategist. And I work with amazing individuals like Miss TeeCee Okore over here. And we are going to talk to you today about Clubhouse. I don't know if you've been on Clubhouse. I don't know if you have used Clubhouse since they've changed, but we're going to talk a little bit about the background, what it means, all of the ins and outs of what we've experienced on Clubhouse. I do business coaching. TC, it really does focus on the implementation when it comes down to your strategies. If you are launching anything, if you are looking to generate leads, right? All these things that we talk about, we're like, okay, what does it look like to make money in my business? Well, TC has those tools. And so, TC, go ahead and introduce yourself and let's get into the whole conversation about Clubhouse.
Awesome. Okay, so I'm always very excited about these conversations. But you see, this particular conversation is interesting because I know so many of us listening to this, so many of us watching this particular conversation understands, will understand what we're talking about because we were all there, when Clubhouse, made that mark, make that difference, took um, life, took lifestyle, took everything to that next level when it opened a whole lot. It literally opened a different view of what entrepreneurship should look like, what businesses should feel like. It was just a whole different energy. Like we were all there. And that's why I feel like this is one conversation that we want to talk about. And over time, Clubhouse has transitioned into what we're going to talk about, right? And I also want you to be a part of this conversation. If you've ever used Clubhouse, if you've heard of Clubhouse, if you were there in the inception of Clubhouse, if you were there when Clubhouse be clubhousing, um, share your experience, share your thoughts, tell us what you like about Clubhouse, what you don't like about Clubhouse, what you feel about Clubhouse, if it was that game changer for businesses or it wasn't. We just want to hear your opinion while we break down, our thoughts about Clubhouse journey, what we should learn, from their journey, and how you can use their story to make the best out of your own story. Okay, so I'm excited, Allegra, and I can't wait for us to deep dive into this particular conversation. Over to you, Allegra.
Yes, honey, we are definitely going to talk about Clubhouse because we were born from Clubhouse when it came down to the stages. I personally, before Clubhouse existed, did not go on anybody's stage to talk about my expertise the way that I do today. And I think it also was attributing to like the introversion that was happening around the world. If you started a business in a pandemic, a lot of you all were using Clubhouse. If you were like, I am bored at home and I don't have nowhere to go, like I'm so lonely, like you got on Clubhouse. And we found that there were like some good sides to that. And then there were some really weak, like weird sides to it. I don't know about y'all, but I had some really good experiences on Clubhouse. I also had some really weird experiences on Clubhouse, and I want to talk about that a little bit in this, session of Clubhouse, whether we actually have it just today or we extend it for another day. We want to hear what your experience was. Because if you look at it, right, we're in our series of Big Brand Small Business, the power of Clubhouse for entrepreneurs, baby. So if you're an entrepreneur, shout out. But Clubhouse is an audio based social networking platform, and it became a game changer in the pandemic, of course, but it launched in 2020. So 2020 was the year that it became, this invite only platform, and it allowed users to join rooms, right? We talk about like, because we still call them rooms, where they could participate in discussions, they could share their experiences, share their expertise, network with like minded individuals, right? And they gained popularity in the tech and creative circles. It also expanded into a broader audience because a lot of professionals use it, a lot of influencers use it, and a lot of business leaders use it. Now, I want to stop there because I grew out of that space for professionals, business owners, entrepreneurs, influencers as well. I used it for all of that. And I think, even now, I talked about it, TeeCee, how I still use Clubhouse because I use it as a tool for when I need to use it, whether it's inviting someone to do, like what I call a listening impact, whether it's, like downloading a recording to impact my own community, right? Because you can record rooms on Clubhouse. But I thought it was really interesting because we saw ourselves, right? From the beginning. I don't know, TeeCee, did you join in the beginning? Were you there when it was invite only?
Yes, I was.
So you were one of the exclusive people. And I remember that alone was a big lead generation tool because I was like, because everyone loves exclusivity. I don't know about y'all, but when I think about like being the one of the only ones to have it, I was really like, oh, okay. So my girlfriend, and I'll tell y'all how I was invited. My girlfriend, Avi, shout out to her. She's actually done live streams in our community, Women into Networking Win. So y'all have seen her, but she knows me so well. And she was like, girl, let me tell you about this app. It is perfect for you. You need to get on there and talk about your business, blah, blah, blah. And I said, I don't know. We'll see. Right. A little leery because I didn't hear about no audio app. That was weird. Audio app, weird. Right. Podcast, yes. Audio app, weird. So then she invited me, but I didn't even start getting active right away. Right. I was like, I went in there, saw a couple things, and I was like, ugh, okay, whatever. Then months later, as I saw a couple notifications and pop-ups and things happening and people talking about Clubhouse on Facebook, that's what got me intrigued because I was like, wait, I was like, they're really talking about this thing. Like they're actually talking about how they're speaking on it app to people around the world. Let me just see what it's about. So that leads me to talk about what makes Clubhouse unique. Because for me, what I thought was weird actually makes them unique, right? TeeCee, before I even go into this, because I think we all have to share what this felt like for a lot of us, right? I think we do a deep dive into this because we still use it mainly for a lot of our business success when it comes down to lead generation. I still get a lot of leads on Clubhouse. TeeCee and I was talking about this earlier. She was like, Allegra, what was your first experience when you got on Clubhouse? Were you like impressed? Were you thrown off? Like, let's talk about it. Oh wait, what happened to the sound? TeeCee, unmute.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Okay, there you
So
go.
I believe that Clubhouse has done so much. I mean, Clubhouse helped so many introverts. Clubhouse helped so many individuals understand who they were. Some, I mean, it actually bettered a lot of businesses, loads of ideas. However, um, it's transitioned. I mean, I remember when I first got my first invite because I was part of people that had like the invite only. Truth be told, actually, it was then a client of mine because we were looking out for opportunities for her to like talk about her business, all of that. Obviously, like during the pandemic, right? And we're like, oh, how can we do this? How can we build more exposure and blah 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 blah. And then she's like, TeeCee, have you heard of this platform? And I'm like, no. And she's like, a friend of hers told her about the platform on Facebook. And I'm like, Facebook, are you sure the platform is going to be a good one? And she's like, okay, you know what? How about we test it? And so I'm like, okay, yeah, you go test it. I'll be here. Anything, let me know. And then she's like, okay. So when she got invited, she invited me because obviously we were going to test it together for her business. I took a liking to Clubhouse, but the energy I met wasn't good enough for me. And so I remember I had to like take a step back. I think I had to leave Clubhouse for like good number of months, but then I came back, right? I think it like maybe 6, 7 months, then I came back And then I realized that, like other social media platforms, you want to pick your stand. You want to understand that, this space is a very, is like, you choose, you have choices. Your choices, you are responsible for the choices that you make. In the same vein, you're responsible for the people you connect to. I mean, if they're not good for you, just take a step, walk off. Like, you are responsible for that. And I had to talk to myself and understand that, hey, if I feel uncomfortable about certain kind of people, and that's because I'm putting myself in those spaces where those people will find me and I will find those people. But I can work my way through, because then Clubhouse, you are able to organize your hallway. Then, it was been about hallways, and check the hallways and do this, the hallways. It was really fun. Back then, Clubhouse was really, really fun. Now it's more serious business, but it was fun then, you know. But there has been so many, Allegra's laughing, there has been so many changes. Now the question is, what would you say about the changes? Would you say that the changes were a hit, or the changes were like a, that was a little mistake? No. I just want to hear what you have to say. Yeah. Um, what would you say, Allegra?
This is such an interesting question because I honestly think that, as the world changes, I mean, there are no real mistakes when you think about um, meeting the needs of the people that you're serving. Now, the question is, who are the people that Clubhouse is serving? Like, who is their audience? In a lot of our lives, TeeCee, we talk about that clear avatar and knowing your audience. We even talk about this in our Clubhouse rooms, right? We say, know who your audience is so you can serve them where they are. And when I look at it, and just to be very honest, right, Clubhouse started with this unique approach as an audio first approach, providing space for genuine conversations, real time engagement without the pressure of visuals or text. So, just being able to sit in your bed and just talk on the phone, like, how you're talking about, like, you just meet people and get in rooms, and you have different people all around the world. So they wanted people to establish this authentic connection. And they also have, they talked about entrepreneurs, right? And how they have capitalized on that format to create, like networking opportunities like we have with our community, to share industry insights. I've been in rooms where they talk about, different things around the world and different things that are in their industries and spaces where you can learn, showcasing expertise and just really looking at even this time, right? Turning that small business into a big brand. Now, I think it's really important for us to understand too that this was started by two guys. And I didn't do all of my research. Okay? I didn't do all of my research. Like, I only did research at the top layer, so I'm not done yet. But the way that I was looking at this, and I said, in April 2020, because they had a good strategy, y'all. And this is why we say get a good marketing strategy, because they knew what they were doing. They launched in another country before they came to the US. So they knew kind of like where the artists and creatives really were first. And they really wanted to capitalize on the market where people were sitting at home, they had nothing to do. So they're like, okay, well, who do we need to get on this app to be a face of the app? I remember the first icon I saw was a black dude with like really, artsy hair, and he looked like a musician on a guitar. I was like, oh, I like that, right? So I had something I could even relate to. Like, okay, well, this is multi-diversive, and we have a lot of creatives here. I want to be a part of that. Now, I didn't go on the app to necessarily talk about business. I'm gonna tell you what attracted that. What attracted that, which is why I think this is so important, is that of why they originally designed it, was that he let artists, creatives, and entrepreneurs on there. So even though you're sharing industry insights and sharing knowledge and expertise, as an entrepreneur, we're going to turn that into a dollar, baby. Like, we're never going to be there just being like, hey, just give my goods away. You're going to get a call to action. And I think over time, what you saw, TeeCee, and this is how I feel like over time, the two owners, which is Paul Davison and Rohan Seth, right? And if y'all went to those town hall meetings every week, y'all saw them on stage. These guys were goofy. Like, I'll listen to them on these stages and I'll be like, these dudes seem like they're gamers. Like, they're just like having fun, playing around with this app. They're not taking it seriously. Like, this is how I felt. This is how I felt because I'm an entrepreneur on this app and I'm like, yo, I'm not getting conversion. Right? I'm like, I'm not getting a right conversion. Like, what is this app about? But the truth is that I don't think they really cared so much about the end result of what we were trying to do. They were just trying to provide the space. Like, and being that was really the ultimate goal, was just like, we're just providing space. Like, if y'all not making money on the app, we not caring about that. But if people complaining about y'all bullying them about sales, or if people are complaining about, like, hey, they're scamming because, and I've heard, oh, TeeCee, this is just my experience, but I heard so many stories that I was like, oh, thank God I'm not that naive. Because you got to be a little naive to think just because you're on an audio app and someone's saying making 6,000 in 6 days that you're just going to pay them $1,000 for no reason. Like, you got to show me receipts, baby. I got to see every single receipt. When did you help somebody make $6,000 in 6 days? I got to see it today. So, so I think, like, when you look at how they created the app, right? They created it under a business that wasn't even called Clubhouse, y'all. The business name is called Alpha Exploration Co. So some of y'all walking around here complaining about names and what names sound like and what they look like. Baby, if you don't pick a name, if you don't just pick a name, and then if you need to run a DBA, or something that's going to, it's not an AKA, y'all, it's a DBA. Make sure you register it properly with the IRS, because they will take you. But Clubhouse is just the brand name. And they knew that it had to be simple. Like, didn't we learn that when Panera Bread changed from being the cookie jar or something like that? It was one of those companies, and they talked about in the strategy where they just had to keep it simple. The problem is, we got brand names that sound crazy as all get out. Imagine if Clubhouse was called that business name, right? And they're like, no, it's the name of the business. No, we don't care. We like Clubhouse better. So I think we have to look at how they built this brand, and they got venture capitalists early on. So that's my opinion about it, TeeCee. Like, I think that we definitely use that app for our benefit. I grew on that app, not with just community, not with just my business knowledge, because I got to learn from a lot of different people. I connected with Les Brown. I connected with Dr. Dre. I connected with Sonia Norwood, Brandy Norwood's mom. I connected with many professionals that were in very high heights of knowledge and education. And I had so many connections that even today I'm still benefiting from. So I think essentially, for the people that did not stay or did not like how Clubhouse changed, I think it was just a matter of they were using it for the benefit at that time of what it was giving. But if you know business and you understand entrepreneurship, you're going to understand that no matter what changes, you're using the tools according to what your business plan is saying, according to what your marketing strategy is saying. So it shouldn't change because the app changes, unless they're not providing the same space and the same tools and resources. Because the truth is, I think a lot of it was, how do I get a lot of people in my room? It's just the same way as we say, how do I get a lot of social media followers? Well, ain't nobody buying it. So it's like, what's the point? Like, if you can't bring people into a space like a Clubhouse room and have a conversation that converts, that says nothing about the app. It says everything about your ability to know how to sell, market yourself. And that's some things that we teach. So it's no, there's no limitations. It's just a matter of, how do I learn that thing? How do I learn how to use Clubhouse as an entrepreneur? So that's my take on it, TeeCee, because I was a little sick about it at first, because I had to change when Clubhouse changed. But that's life. Like, it is what it is. Let me plug my computer in. TeeCee, take over for me.
I believe that, people have Clubhouse is still Clubhouse. Yeah, with a little bit of modification, anyways. But the truth is, there's still people, contrary to a lot of opinions, there's still people out there on Clubhouse, people who are ready to listen to you. Um, I mean, if you love audios, if you're this one person who just want to have like an AirPod, put it in, listen to all of the great teachings and all of it, like Clubhouse is an amazing space. If you want to build your course, if you want to do this, you want to do that with business, Clubhouse is still as vibrant, is still as effective, is still as productive. You just need to work it. Now, there are a couple of good changes, right? I use the word good changes because, we all have like expectations. And the truth is, so many of us are just working through with what other people are saying. We've actually not taken our time to do our own work. Use the app and find out if the app is going to work for you. Now, we're just going with what everyone else is saying. Oh, Clubhouse is not the way Clubhouse used to be. Who says? When was the last time you've been there? Right? Now, it's about conversion. I know. Let me tell you something that I've understood about Clubhouse, Allegra. Is the fact that, there was so much noise that period. So much noise, so much entertainment, all of those, so much fluff going around, so much waste of time, so much of people who are bored and they know that they can just sit in their chairs or in their home and stay like hours, talking to a bunch of bored people who literally like that is no longer highly applicable anymore right now. But if you are a business owner, if you are a creator, you can still use the app. Now, personally, I see a little bit of hiccups in Clubhouse strategy. Now, this hiccup is from my perspective as a business owner, right? Now, it could be good for them. Why? Because obviously they had a different mindset about starting the platform in the first place, right? And they had a specific audience. However, in as much as they had a specific audience, a group of people are basically the individuals or the category of people actively using the app and are most effective for the app right now. These are business owners, entrepreneurs, small business owners, right? Now, personally, for me, I feel like if Clubhouse can do a lot of, it can, not a lot of maybe, but if Clubhouse can, enhance their marketing or rather um, their distribution in information, kind of, when it comes down to the amazingness of Clubhouse, I believe that that's one app that that transforms lives. That's what I believe because it not only helped. Forget about the money. Do you know how many people's self worth was better? Do you know how many people's confidence, self confidence? Do you know how many people's dreams were brought to reality? You know, but I feel like Clubhouse couldn't see way past what their their founding vision was, because along the line, no, that's what, see, it's my thoughts, yeah, because it wasn't designed for people like me. That's the truth. Now, when I say people like me, I mean business owners who actively use it to be for me. However, I my me and the people like me but they were not able to take us and use what we had to transform what they have. Now, this is not to say that they're not effective. This is just saying that you need to have one heck of a strategy for you to still stay alive on Clubhouse. Now, that's my opinion.
Well,
I like to be like smiling one cheek.
I know we gotta go, y'all. I know we gotta go, but I'm just tripping because, TeeCee, we're looking at it from the outside looking in and we're giving opinions about it. But here are the facts, right? The facts are that Clubhouse had some really big milestones throughout their entire process that really put them on the mark, right? Let's just look at the facts because their key milestones is that, well, number one, they launched in the pandemic. So that right there tells you a lot because everybody was home. So if you didn't have anything to do, of course you're sitting on the app, you're trying to figure it out. So of course, if you don't have a marketing strategy that can change with the market, then it's kind of like, you're stuck with what you have, which I feel like that's what happened with Clubhouse, because when the market changed, when everybody decided to go back to work and stop being on their phones all day, and entrepreneurs that were on Clubhouse being entrepreneurs all of a sudden had to go back to a 9-to-5 job. Like, Clubhouse did not have anyone on the app putting out all this content anymore. Like, we saw it ourselves, TeeCee, when with the clubs that we used to be a part of, like, had 45,000, 260,000 people, but we open up a room and like 5 people come in the room. So this is real. Like, in the pandemic, yeah, people saw all kind of ways to connect and all kinds of people. Okay. Then you look at the beginning. April, they launched as an invite only platform. May 2020, they gained traction from influential figures, and this is where you got to get why they're so popular in the beginning. Elon Musk, Oprah Winfrey, they got on these apps and they used Clubhouse. So they exploded, right? Think about it. It just exploded. Everyone's like, of course, let's go on there. I even went on there because I saw, like, these Grant Cardone conversations and Les Brown. And I'm like, what is all this stuff going on, right? So you got this explosion in May 2020 and then December of 2020, right? Because now everybody's like on the app for May. June, July, August, September, October, November, December hits, right? So December, this is like holiday season. Clubhouse hits 1 million users. Okay. They raised $100 million valuation in December 2020. $100 million valuation. Now, it doesn't mean they have $100 million. It just means that that's what they're valuated as. So the investors are going to look at that like, yeah, that's good money. People come into them that want to endorse, want to sponsor. That 100 million valuation that they hit in December 2020, baby, with Clubhouse, they were looking like, right? Because think about it. If you're just thinking about this app being accessible to users as a brand so that people can just get out of their heads and talk to people around the world, right? But then, like not even a year later, after launching, you're at $100 million valuation. Clubhouse, Paul and oh boy had been going out their minds. Like, they had been sitting there like, dog, we never thought. So for those of y'all who were on Clubhouse December 2020 when they hit that $100 million valuation, you know that they had some new stuff coming, right? Elon Musk in January of 2021 joined a live session. So after they hit that $100 million valuation, Elon Musk is like, what's going on over here? So he joins and he gets into a live session that boosted the platform's visibility and their user base, right? Because now everybody wants to get on there. So when Elon Musk comes back, hopefully he comes in the room, right? And then July of 2021, months after, Clubhouse launched an Android version, significantly expanding its user base beyond iOS users. Now, listen, I'm not going to lie. When Android users came on the app, I was like, it's trash. Throw it away. I was like, throw it away. It's trash. It's not going to. we're losing value, right? Because when it was invite only and it was exclusive, I felt like the cream of the crop, the prim of the like you just feel special. But when it's open to everybody else, you're just like, dang, dog. So I don't know what happened between the time Elon Musk came with a live session and Clubhouse launched Android version. Was it cockiness? I don't know. Like, nothing can stop us now. I don't know, but whatever it was, okay, I think it may have been what you said earlier, TeeCee, that one bad decision. That's just my opinion. Because you can have an Android and an iPhone. That would have just, if they would have just stuck to iPhone users, what would have happened is that they would have got more exclusive deals with Apple. They would have boosted sales for Apple because now people with Android phones are going to either want to switch over to Apple phones or they want to get both. And now they can get more valuation, more investment, more blah, 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 blah. Now, this is me looking at a marketing strategy, right? Because once you open up your stuff to everybody after being exclusive, it loses value. And at that time, TeeCee, I do remember feeling like, what happened? Why are y'all punishing us? Go ahead, TeeCee. I'll pass it over to you because I know we are way over the time we said we was going to end this.
No, but that's a good strategy, and I don't think they actually thought about it that way. I mean, personally, I feel like if Clubhouse thinks hard enough, and you know, maybe certain things that they do will still be done, but they would do it hitting on the right, uh hitting the bull by the eye, you know. um because that's such a good strategy if I think about it, getting more sales for Apple. um but I don't think that was a miss, particularly when they open it up to Android users. Personally, I believe that the miss here was not taking advantage of online creators and online businesses, taking them into consideration, taking their growth, taking, because obviously, somehow, in my opinion, the way their strategy looked, it felt like they were only there for the now. It felt like, oh, it's only about the pandemic. I mean, the world has there is something after the pandemic. I would agree. Literally not going to stay put in a pandemic till death do us part, right? Right. That there's going to be a life after the pandemic. The pandemic will come and go. Now, what happens afterwards? I actually don't think they put the right considerations. I don't think they were intentional about the people that, take for instance, let me give you an example. Take for instance, do you know people who literally um make it happen, like make it happen for Meta? They're the business owners, the small businesses. They make it happen for Meta. Why? Listen, Meta does not necessarily survive by our, I'm going to post 100 billion times. No. Meta survives by the verifications pays. They survive by the ads. Now, who runs ads? Who are the chunk load of people that run these ads? As the business owners, right? They're the creators that monetizes their skills. Okay. Now, in this regards, if Clubhouse has paid attention to the movers and the shakers of the online space, particularly, especially the ones who are going to keep using. So listen, the reason why it feels like Instagram is still going to be there, regardless of how messy they keep going in and out with, right? It's the fact that business owners still use this platform. Now, the moment you take away business owners, small businesses, away from Instagram, away from, I'm telling you, you'll be amazed as to what the platform is going to look like now. Right? Now, creators, people like myself, we're still the ones who are more or less leveraging Clubhouse right now. But how effective has Clubhouse strategy been for us? How have they, put us in that? Obviously, like you said, keep up with the growing competition. I don't think they're ready. I don't think they were ready. I don't think they were even ready for the growth. I mean, we keep talking about this here. Always staying ready when it comes down to the growth that we pray for. So many of us will keep praying for, oh my gosh, I want to grow, I want to grow, I want to get 1 billion clients, I want to do this, I want to do that. Listen, when that eventually come, are you ready? How ready are you? Most times, you just never know. You know, we need to be very ready. So many of us say, I want to go viral, I want to go viral, I want to go viral. When we finally go viral, how ready are we to take advantage of all the attention that you're getting? When the change happened with the pandemic, it was good, it was booming. But how ready was Clubhouse to expand and even get even much more better after the pandemic? I'm not sure they were too ready. Or even if they say they were ready, their strategy wasn't ready. Because I mean, you can see, right? If we had the graph here, you would see the graph, how the graph like, right? In regards to how much, or rather the usage of the platform. I mean, the platform is still very effective. I love the platform, right? But just because I love the platform doesn't necessarily mean that the platform would give me conversion, right? Now, it's the engagement with the audience that matters. Now, whether I love the platform or I don't love the platform, if people stop engaging with the platform, then I'm a business owner. I go where my people are. Now, when my people cease to be there, I leave there and I go where they are. Now, how can Clubhouse help me to, help me with my business? Right? So these are like things I would have, if I was sitting with one of the founders, I would say to them, you need to think about the future and think about the people that would make your future, what you envision it for what you envision for it. Right? So personally, I believe that Clubhouse is amazing, but it just needs a little bit of work to get back the flow and the momentum, right? So that people get to see how beautiful this platform is. I mean, it's very, very beautiful for introverts, for creators, for businesses, for skilled individuals. Listen, community builders, everyone has a space. But I'm sure that once you're watching this, you'll be like, oh, does Clubhouse still exist? I mean, I've heard that a couple of times. People be like, oh, are you still on Clubhouse? Is Clubhouse still existing? Are people still on Clubhouse? Those kind of questions. Imagine somebody asks you, oh, is LinkedIn still existing? Is LinkedIn still, are people still on LinkedIn? It can never be said, right? It is in the same vein with our businesses. We do not want people to ask, is TeeCee still doing her business? Oh, I didn't know she's still running her business. What do people say about you? How reliable can you be for your audience? How can you stay in tune with the transformation? How can you stay in tune with the evolving nature of your ideal clients, of your audience? How can you make sure that trends come, trends go, but you're still, you know, top of mind when it comes down to your audience? Think about it. I mean, that's what I would say. I want to end this conversation with. Allegra.
Yeah, no, we gotta get out of here, but we'll have this again. Y'all listen, Clubhouse is really interesting as you were speaking, TC. And I love what you're saying about just looking towards the future because in business, right? And I'm thinking to myself, as I'm looking at their scalability, right, their milestones and getting into that place where they expanded out to more than iOS users. This is more than just a thing of, okay, we just want to give this to everyone. No, their goal was to get more people on the app. They saw that money coming in. They saw that $100 million valuation. They saw the 100 million users just off of iPhone alone. They were like, oh, we're going to expand this so we can get more users because think about it, what if you don't know how to leverage marketing to start doing partnerships, right? Because these are two guys that just hit the lotto. If you don't know how to really like say, hey, my genius idea needs some strategic measures to make sure that if we hit the max amount of iOS users, what are we going to do after that, right? It's the same thing we do in our businesses when we create our business plans and our strategy. When you hit the maximum amount of your avatar in this category, right? Who else are you going to serve? Because there's only but so many people in the world. There's only but so many people buying your type of product. There's only but so many people that are going to buy your brand, right? And so we have to look at the realistic viewpoint of like, who are we serving? And I think Clubhouse did one of those things that we tell our clients to never do. And then we're just telling y'all what our outside opinion looks like looking in because we are strategists. We look at these things every single day. We work with our clients on these things every single day. And we are, I'm wrong sometimes too, but I mean, I'm just looking at it and the data never lies. And it's just talking about how right after they hit that 1 million user mark and like 1 month later, Elon Musk comes in for a live session. And next thing you know, the same year they open it up to everybody. They got greedy. They were like, we want to serve everybody. And this is why we tell people not to do that. Because once you start serving everyone, then you put yourself at risk to be so, like available to people or available out there. And I saw this, TC, once that happened, it was no focus on even like I think we even had certain people that we could tell were Android users the way they even came on the app. I was like, you sound like an Android user. Your phone don't sound clear. You sound confused, not judging anyone, but just saying that it was a certain quality that dropped out of the space, right? And on top of that, I think when we look at this, it in 2021 it moved that invite feature, and then 2023 it shifted towards smaller, more intimate groups and introduced houses focusing on community driven interactions. And that's what I think the next bad decision was. And I think that was a desperate measure of, oh my god, we thought that if we opened it up to everyone, then all of a sudden we were going to make another 100 million valuation, right? Like we thought this was going to be blowing up. But here's the thing, data will tell you, like, as soon as you open it up and people start dropping out, because now the iPhone users are like, I don't even want to be around them Android people, I'm out. They didn't even ask me. So I think you start to lose value, so you start to still lose people. You still, and then a lot of times, and this is what we do in our businesses, and this is why I love this comparison, because Clubhouse is an ideal example of what a lot of us do in business, and they were primary for us in a very important period of time in our lives where we needed to connect. They were necessary, but because we didn't see them really shift and change the way we were shifting and changing, or the way it needed to, I think we are kind of at a loss there, both sides, Clubhouse and the audience that was serving. When Clubhouse shifted, it actually started confusing people. And if y'all know what I mean, please put a heart in the comments, because I was one of those people that had, set up an entire strategy around my whole process. And next thing you know, it's like I'm in a house and I'm losing my followers and I only got this. And so I think that's a lesson for us as well, to look at how we are setting ourselves up for success and how we're setting our Lord, I'm losing my thoughts. It's late. our followers, the people that are in our spaces, right? The people that we serve. So anytime that we have any changes in our business, that's why it's so important to start looking at, like when TeeCee tells you, set up your email funnels, right? Like there are going to be different alerts and different updates that you're going to have to give people all the time. I get them when people change their terms and policies, right? When people say, hey, we got a new product coming out. When people say, hey, like we're just launching a new program. You have to be very intentional about informing people about when you're going to change so that they're not so knocked off their rocker that they can't continue to function the way that they need to, because you can't really, keep up with the changes. So that's all I have to say about that, because we had our own personal experiences as well as digging in the background of Clubhouse. If you had your experiences, y'all, please leave a comment in the chat. Let us know. We may continue this conversation another time, but we'll discuss that and let you know. TeeCee, anything else before we leave?
Not nothing. I just, I want us to share our thoughts, our perspective, what you've learned from Clubhouse, how effective it was for you if you've used it, if you're ever going to go back, if you stopped using it before and you think you're still going to go back, have questions about Clubhouse because we still use Clubhouse, right? If you have questions about Clubhouse, please drop it in the comment section. We want to hear from you. We want to hear your hits, your highs, your lows, and all of that. Also, if you have questions about, business growth, implementing the right strategies for your business, ensuring that your business stands the test of time, you can always reach out to, I don't know if Allegra is going to drop the link in the chat. I'm sorry, not the chat,
Sorry,
the comment,
my water girl.
right? But you can always, okay. Okay, yeah, but you can always reach out to myself and Allegra. We have the W.I.N consulting um, services going on, so we're happy to explore all of the opportunities to help you scale your business. Okay, but you definitely get all of the answers to your questions. But before then, okay, ensure that you put all of this feedbacks, all the brands that we keep talking about, we're talking about them not because we want to we're trying to, you know I don't know, it's not an ulterior, it's not from an ulterior motive. It's because we want you to learn. Why we're learning, we also learn because all of these brands started off from somewhere. You are starting off from somewhere and you are going to be a big brand, tomorrow. So how do you ensure that your business is sustainable, is thriving, regardless of the transformation, regardless of the trends, regardless of the involvement that happens, even with your audience? We want to think about that. So that's what I'm going to leave you off with, and I'm going to see you all next week. As always, over to you, Allegra.
All right, y'all. And Clubhouse is still standing. So we'll see y'all on there this week. I think tomorrow, Allie has her Mompreneur Motivation, which is actually a growing room. And this is why we tell y'all, don't go on apps just because they have a lot of people there. Go use the apps and the tools according to how you need to use it and bring your audience together in those spaces. We can teach you how to do that. Make sure you connect with us. I did put the link in the chat for our W.I.N consulting. You can book us online and you can also DM us and ask us questions. Y'all have an amazing night. We'll see y'all next time.